Hello and welcome to my channel, and welcome to part 2 of the series about what to practice for the major scale and how we will learn the neck with the fingerings for the major scale. We had the C-type for D major in the first episode, and then we played our scale with the 5-note and the 7-note exercise by Barry Harris. And now we're going on today from the C-type to the A-type. Still we're in D major, we're in the same key, and we're starting on this note D here. In the C-type, the Ds are here and here. And you have to remember, this is all the Ds in this position for C-type. In the A-type, they're right here. The fingering for the major scale, for the D major scale, in this position where I see an A-type D chord, goes like this. It's a little more difficult than the one when you do a C-type, but this is how it goes. On the low E string, I'm calling out the fret numbers again. On the low E string I go 3, 5, 7. On the A string I go 4, 5, 7. On the D string 4, 5, 7. On the G string 4, 6, 7. And then we move our index finger to 5th fret and we go 5, 7, 8, 5, 7. If you want, you can stretch and go 9. But that's already really part of the next. Then there's others who play this position where they just go like this. They do the same thing that they did on the low E string, they do on the high E string. From 4, 6, 7, middle finger 5, 7 on the B string, and on the high E you go 3, 5, 7. And of course you can do the exercises we did in the first episode when we were down in C-type and just go 5 notes. It will be different finger combinations, so already that is a good exercise. And then you go ahead and do the 7-note exercise and you go. And remember to use your metronome. So here's doing my 5 notes with A-type. 2, 3, 4. And then doing the 7-note, going a little bit faster, but now in this new position. Let's say I do 160. 2, 3, 4. And so on. So that already is a good exercise because you're using different finger combinations, different pick combinations too. This is going to be a couple of exercises that everybody, I'm sure they're much older, they're probably from violin or piano exercises, but in the 80s they were very popular. One was the 3-note exercise where you would go up 3 notes in the scale, and then you would start on the next note in the scale and go up another 3 notes. I'm going to go through it slow without even the metronome, just so you know what notes to play. I'm always starting on D. You could start on the lowest note if you just want to run your scales for the fingerings, but I want you to also get a feeling for what is the tonality. So I'm starting on the root note of the key that we're in D major. So I go first note, second note, third note, and then I start on the second note. And this is what you should do at first. You should get your fingers familiarized with the idea of going, or even if I start on the low note. Down here you have to do the stretch. And so on. But then what you can do is, because we want to get a little more fluent in playing this and not have this pause in there, you do triplets. You say, I'm going to always do 3 notes per beat, and I'll use these three. So it will be. So let me use the metronome to do that. I'm going to start a little bit slower. So here's 80 beats with a 4/4 beat. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. That's triplets. That's putting 3 notes on each beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 80 beats, and then you can go a lot slower, of course, if you were first learning this, and you can go faster if you want to improve your technique. Another idea that you can do is you have 3 notes, but you still play 8th notes, 1 and. So you put 2 notes for each beat, so it will, and then you right away you start the next 3-note phrase. Here's 60. 4. And if I do 8th notes, 2, 3, 4, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But I want to use the 3-note idea. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. So this will move the accent a little bit, because you're going 1 and 2, 3, and so my next downbeat is going to be the 3, but I'm going to be already in the middle of a 3-note figure. So let me do this in 8th notes, but I'm playing a 3-note exercise, and I'm putting the metronome at 100. First you have to feel the quarter notes. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then coming down, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. So I went back to D, so you can hear our key again. So we have a 5-note, we have a 7-note exercise, we have a 3-note exercise. The other one that everybody wanted to learn in the 80s was the 4-note exercise. And that is, just as the name says, I go 4 notes in the scale. And then I start on the 2nd note of the scale. And I go 4 notes, and then the 3rd note. And the 4th note. And so on. And that I can play very straightforward with 8 notes. 82. 4. It's. And so on. So once you can do this in tempo, let's say we go to 110 beats. 2, 3, 4. Then I ask my students to play the same thing, but only have half of the information from the metronome. So I'm splitting my 110, I put in 55, and I play the same thing. But now what I'm doing is I'm playing 16th notes. So I'm putting 4 notes per beat. With this exercise, that's pretty convenient because I always do 4 notes from each note of the scale. So here we go. 3, 4. If I count along with the metronome, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and that's counting 16th notes. And I play those with the 4-note exercise. 2, 3, 4. And here we are. This was 55. And you start taking that up, you get to some really serious technical exercises, coordinating your left and your right hand. Let me see if I can do it. I go to 90 and I want to play 16th notes. I went up to the high D here in the other position. But you can tell this is already something that is more advanced, and this way you can start to bring in contrast in your solo. You can play a slow melodic phrase just using a few notes, and then use a faster sequential scale phrase where you just run it up from what you practiced and have a nice contrast to the melodic thing that happened before. So now you have a number of exercises for both fingerings. Of course, you can go back and do all these 3-note and 4-note things in the C-type for D major, and you can move it around like we said, go to different keys and play with the backing track for some improvising. Have fun.